can even help pay off debt like credit cards and medical bills. Life insurance can even pay for college. And if you own a business and you die, life insurance can help your business from collapsing. It can even help cover estate taxes. Life insurance has never been more affordable and needed. Plus, you can always shop around even if you have a plan and save some money. So call the Life Insurance Quote Line right now for free pricing information.
800-932-3721. 800-932-3721. 800-932-3721. That's 800-932-3721.
This is the Patriot Pastor, Maisel Duncan. I want to introduce to you one of our new sponsors, University Motors of Chattanooga. Kevin Bloom is a great patriot, and University Motors of Chattanooga. My wife's car was bought there, and now my car. I trust them enough that I do business with them. 423-713-5800. NugaUsedCars.com. That's NugaUsedCars.com. And tell them the Patriot Pastor sent you.
If you're a diabetic, we have great news. You can end the painful finger sticks with a new CGM. Plus, they may be covered by Medicare, Medicaid, or private insurance. If you use insulin or have had hypoglycemic events, you may qualify. Call US Med now to learn more.
800-803-3771. 800-803-3771. 800-803-3771. That's 800-803-3771.
I'm proud to be an American. This is the Patriot Pastor, Maisel Duncan. And if you're looking for small projects like porches, patios, walkways, or even large projects like foundation work, Patriot Concrete is there for you. Cameron Lee, 423-215-6365. We've used Cameron for many projects at Appleton Baptist Church, and he and his team are awesome. That's 423-215-6365. These are all veterans that served our country. Let them serve you. Patriot Concrete is there for you.
Today to tour the damage from last week's deadly Key Bridge collapse. Meanwhile, a new political report finds that the Biden campaign is bringing on a group of new veteran pollsters and advocates to lead its new election efforts. All this coming after a Wall Street Journal survey shows former President Trump is leading Biden in 6 of 7 swing states right now.
So Biden is having some problems. Trump keeps winning in all the polls. He's up 6 of 7 states in the swing states. And, of course, I know that the elections are a long way off. And to sit there and try to, don't count your chickens or your eggs and your chickens to hatch, all that stuff. You don't want to get too enamored by the polls because they can be very deceitful. Back in 2016, all the polls said Hillary Clinton was going to win right up to the night of the election. Okay, so you got to be careful. Sometimes those polls are meant to woo you into laziness. For instance, what they could probably try to do is make so many Trump people think, oh, he's got it in the bag. He doesn't need my vote. So you'll stay home and not vote. So understand, media hype is not always for the advantage of the good purpose. But with that said, a lot of people right now are noticing that Biden administration is making possibly some mistakes in a couple of areas. One, he did not replenish the strategic oil reserve. Now, he said he was going to, but when Trump left office, and whether you like it or not, and they said they didn't like when he said drill, baby, drill. But when Donald Trump was president in 2018, for the first time in 75 years, we were the number one exporter of petroleum, natural gas, and clean coal. Okay, we were leading the world. Not just a few. We were leading the world in energy production. When you do that, it makes our costs come down. Savvy? Trump left the strategic oil reserve at the highest mark it had been in close to 50 years. Within Biden's first year, he sold over half to the CCP. Then he's used the other half to try to bring and keep gas prices down. Okay? Bottom line is our strategic oil reserves is just about gone. So he had this promise he was going to rebuild the strategic oil reserves by purchasing gas from our enemies. Whoa, Joe, you're so smart. Well, that's failed. So now he's had to make an announcement. Right, it's at the moment we can't rebuild the strategic oil reserve. So you got the leader of our nation that has squandered our resources. He shut down the Alaska pipeline, one of the first acts he did, and he helped open the one in Germany to Russia. Hello. All the Democrats talk Russia, Russia, Russia like they're the evil boogeyman of the East. And yet every chance they get, Hillary Clinton, when she was Secretary of State, gave them over 20% of our uranium, which is good for nuclear testing and nuclear warheads. Savvy? So you had Hillary give them 20% of our uranium, and then you have Biden shut down our pipeline and open up Germany's to allow Russia to fuel up for the invasion to Ukraine. Interesting. Well, that wasn't the most stupid thing. Biden, of course, you know about the Afghan withdrawal, but he's also recently, and as of today, I thought we'd talk about just for a minute, said he told Israel, don't know if we're going to be your ally if you don't do what we say. They're trying to tell Israel, a long-standing ally, you can't defend yourself without our permission. You should never tell another nation how to run their military or how they defend themselves. We are not the world police. That's not our job. And I think a lot of people would agree with me. And there's some concern there. So this is the 700 Club. See what you think about Gordon. And I like his opening statement here.
Well, we start today with some unfortunate news out of the White House. President Biden has issued a warning to Israel. Change some of your key policies in Gaza, or the U.S. may reevaluate its support. The president is also demanding an immediate ceasefire deal.
At the same time, Biden harshly criticized Israel for the airstrike that accidentally killed 7 aid workers, even though his own administration was responsible for a similar tragedy in the pullout from Afghanistan.
So that's where I think a lot of folks say, "Now, Joe, you're not making sense. You contradict yourself." But to make that statement, and my friends, the election's 6 months and a half away. This is either going to make a huge help or a huge hurt. So you got to ask yourself, why would he make such a move to take away support, morale, whatever, to Israel? You know, the person that's got to be happy about this is Hamas. Hamas is saying, we may not be winning with bullets and bombs. I said this the other day, but they are winning the propaganda war. And they've got to be delighted to know that they've caused friction between America and Israel. Okay? Which side of you may be a Trump or a Biden person or a Kennedy, whatever. But the thing that ought to burden your heart today is that we have people in charge of this country right now that are trying to distance themselves from Israel. And that concerns me. That concerns me greatly. Now, the Gateway Pundit. Now, I don't recommend this for the faint of heart. I watched it, and it's still chilling to me. It's very eye-opening, but it says, more anti-Semitism from the Biden White House. Blinken warns Israel's risk becoming indistinguishable from Hamas. That's stupid. Okay, Blinken, you're a nut job. But here are several videos of what Hamas barbarians did on October 7th. If you go to the Gateway Pundit and you pull up this, there's a series of videos. Understand, you do not want your children watching this. But it shows some of the machine guns that mowed down people. Where 300 kids were killed at the music festival when they came in on the hang gliders. You know, unchallenged. Hamas aggressively, without any provocation, okay, chose to attack Israel. Sammy, no matter what spin you've been listening to, the other thing that really unnerves me, there was 30 to 50 American journalists on the ground covering this. They knew the attack was happening. Not only did they not warn Israel, but they were there with their cameras on videotaping this. Very disturbing. The other thing it shows is people being bludgeoned. Some Israeli kids that hid in a bomb shelter, and they threw grenades in and blew them up, and it shows their bodies blown apart. And then it shows the last video. This is really, I'll remember this for a while. I didn't watch all of it. But they took sticks and they poked and gouged out the eyes of the Israeli men they had killed. One guy was still looked like he was in, they killed him. And then they took these sticks and they gouged out their eyes and were poking into their bodies after they're dead. And some of you still have some kind of sympathies for this Hamas. Hamas is nothing but a terrorist group. Now, this is the weirdness of our country. Harvard hires a 24/7 security to protect anti-Israel apartheid wall. It's featuring, quote, from famous terrorist. So they have now at Harvard University in America a wall. You can go to Daily Wire and look at it, and it's got all these what we would call terrorists. They've got a wall dedicated to them and their quotes. And they've hired a security service to make sure no one knocks down their wall. Now, the Hamas students or sympathizers would rip down when they did different displays of the hostages for prayer, etc., for people that they would rip them down and rip up the pictures. But these are known terrorists with inflammatory statements about our country and the world. And Harvard's hiring a 24-hour security team. Now, Harvard's whacked. Now, this is interesting. Chris Cuomo, as you all know, the former CNN host, the former brother to the governor of New York, who's a lip-lock liberal. Chris Cuomo tears Biden a new one over Israel. Hostages have become an afterthought. Chris Cuomo, shabam. Never thought I'd hear that. Peter Doocy sends Kirby into tailspin after all the right questions after Biden-Israel ultimatum. And he says they can't be true. Why are you backing all this hate? And especially demanding that Netanyahu not be allowed to pretty much defend himself and his country. So there's a lot of hurt, a lot of frustration there. Here's an analyst who's responded to Biden's ceasefire, and he says it's not sitting well with the with folks that are Jewish in nature and see them as an ally.
Joining me to talk more about this is Jeff Balaban with the American Center for Law and Justice. Jeff, great to be with you. Yesterday was an important day in U.S.-Israeli relations, a phone call with President Biden and Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu. From what you know about the call, what's your reaction?
Pain, outrage. This is a very dark day, not just in terms of U.S.-Israel relations, but I would say relations between the United States of America and good and evil, between the United States of America and God. Mm-hmm. What the Biden administration is now doing is unconscionable, and no one is pretending that it's about anything other than the Democrats' domestic political concerns. America is now publicly turning its back on Israel in its darkest time of need since its creation.
Mm-hmm. Now, in the call, President Biden asked Benjamin Netanyahu for an immediate ceasefire and also talked about protecting aid workers. Tragically, 7 were killed just a few days ago. What does this mean for Israel? What kind of position does this put Israel in?
It puts Israel in an absolutely impossible position. If Biden continues down this path, it becomes a genuinely existential threat to Israel. Israel is now waging war, and to this day, even using the ridiculous numbers put forth by Hamas in terms of numbers of dead, Israel is waging a war with fewer civilian casualties than any war that we've ever recorded in history.
Israel records the fewest casualties in any war recorded in history. That shows
Have
God's
you ever
finger.
met a single person in your life that enjoys paying taxes? No, no one does. If you can't sleep at night because you have a huge problem with the IRS, I've got some free advice for you. This service is strictly limited to individuals that owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes. And if you qualify, we can guarantee that you won't be writing a big fat check to the IRS, or our services cost you nothing. The first 100 people that call today will get a free tax consultation worth $500. Stop worrying about your IRS problem. We can help you, we promise. Call the tax doctor right now. I mean right now, to learn more.
800-659-5731. 800-659-5731. 800-659-5731. That's 800-659-5731.
Life insurance is one of those things that just about everybody needs, but few people actually have. Hey, if you die unexpectedly without life insurance, guess what? You'll leave your family with even a bigger mess. Life insurance will help replace your family's income. It'll help cover burial expenses. Life insurance can even help pay off debt like credit cards and medical bills. Life insurance can even pay for college. And if you own a business and you die, life insurance can help your business from collapsing. It can even help cover estate taxes. Life insurance has never been more affordable and needed. Plus, you can always shop around even if you have a plan and save some money. So call the Life Insurance Quote Line right now for free pricing information.
800-932-3721. 800-932-3721. 800-932-3721. That's 800-932-3721.
Hi, I'm Ronnie Deutsch, and if you or your business owe money to the IRS, I've got great news for you. Tax laws have changed. Billions of dollars are earmarked for IRS Fresh Start programs. And if you qualify, you can literally save tens of thousands of dollars. Listen, I know what you're going through. Call me if you want to speak with a tax attorney or tax professional for free.
800-964-0270. That's 800-964-0270.
Welcome back to the show. This is Maisel Duncan, and pumped up about what's going on in the ladies basketball world. You may have heard. It's sad, but we got Caitlin Clark and the gang going, but Tennessee fired its coach the other day. And it's one of those things you go, you hate that she did this. They did this, but I guess change is coming because we want championships, and Pat Summitt kind of had us a little bit spoiled.
Today is Lady Vol basketball head coach Kelly Harper has been let go from the university. Here with me now is Maria Cornelius, 247 Sports Tennessee writer. You've been covering the Lady Vols for nearly 25 years. I'm sure today it's hitting the whole Lady Vol fan base hard. And I mean, you were covering them back when Kelly was a player. You saw her transition. I mean, a lot of years in between there, but saw her transition from a player and into a head coach. What was that emotion like the day she got hired and the day you saw her transition from her alma mater to a head coach?
Kelly Harper was such a competitive player, won 3 national championships. Pat Summitt used to say she was one of the people that reminded her most of her. It was her and Nikki Caldwell Fargas. So it was, it was a happy day, of course, when she gets hired.
And it goes on to say, that she's been let go. Kelly Harper, thank you so much for your service. And it's just sad, sometimes that stuff happens. And the women's sports, though, it's at a pinnacle right now. And a lot of folks are excited. And I don't know if you guys are aware of this. I've got the article pulled up here. Let's see. I believe it was 12.3 million people viewed Caitlin Clark destroying LSU Monday night. And it's the most watched women's college basketball game ever. And it's one of the highest ever watched sporting events. 12.3 million people. And they're playing again tonight. And I think a lot of folks are excited about this. And check out the ticket prices. They're actually selling more than the guys. I thought this was good.
Now, some experts say that tickets to this year's NCAA Women's Final Four are the most expensive in tournament history. KCCI's Kayla James is here with a look at how different women's basketball looks in the span of just 1 year. Kayla.
Yeah, Stacey, Ben, before this year, the cheapest get-in ticket for the women's Final Four was $90 in 2023. That's according to TickPick. Now, the cheapest price they're reporting is just under $700 this year, showing fans are very much interested.
$692 a ticket for ladies basketball going into the Final Four. Hey, Pastor Salute. Title IX's working. Get those boys out of there trying to pretend to be girls. You got plenty enough high-quality female athletes. Well, what's interesting is you had Kamala Harris stick her foot in her mouth, and boy, did she say a doozy. Check out what Kamala said talking about women's basketball.
Do you know, okay, a bit of a history lesson. Do you know that
Yeah, check out what she said, and boy, was she fact-checked.
the women's teams were not allowed to have brackets until 2022?
Sorry, that's not true. You go back to 1986, and women have had brackets now for right at 40 years. Kamala Harris got misled by somebody, whoever wrote that says, 82. How can anyone be this ignorant? Brackets are the part of every tournament, male or female. Moreover, the first NCAA women's college basketball tournament was held in 1982, and the brackets were available then. So another loser statement by the incredible Kamala Harris. But Caitlin Clark, this is the Moose Goose guy. See what you think what he says about Caitlin.
Well, we all are witnessing greatness right before our very eyes. Iowa's Caitlin Clark has transcended the sport that she is so dominant in. Clark dropped in 41 points last night. Iowa's Elite Eight victory over Angel Reese and LSU to punch their ticket for the Final Four. She does not need to win a title to be great. She just is. Unbelievable court vision, fantastic passer. Her range as a shooter is ridiculous, and America is bought in. She's the all-time Division I leading scorer for both men and women. There's not a record award or honor that she has not won, and now she is 2 victories away from winning a national championship.
So, Caitlin Clark, many feel, is the best in the business. And, I don't know if you've heard this. The average price or salary for the WNBA right now is not quite 300,000, like 250, 274. So now I wouldn't mind making that kind of money, but I still think that's a low pay for these women that travel, all the training, all that they go through. So they have to have endorsements, the superstars, so they can, if you get close to $1 million a year, etc. Even your Candace Parks, who played for Tennessee, one of the best players. She won several college-style titles. She's won championships, many in the women's level. You get Sue Bird. There's so many other great players. Caitlin Clark, right now, in her NIL, is making anywhere between $3.5 and $5 million this her senior year. So she's going to walk away because she could apply for an extended year because the COVID happened, but she's already completed her degree. So in 4 years, she's going to go pro, she said. But Ice Cube has offered her $5 million to play in his 3-on-3 league. Well, another rapper has matched that and said, hey, I'll match that we'll give you $10 million if you'll play with men, if you will, in this 3-on-3 league. Now, I can't imagine what's going through her mind. I know her dream is probably to play, 5-on-5 full court with the other ladies, but here's a chance for her to play among men, make $10 million. It's a lot to ponder. They're trying to see if the WNBA will let her do both, allow her to play, and if any conflict of schedule, the WNBA would be, first priority, kind of like Deion Sanders played baseball and football. Bo Jackson played baseball and football. Multi-sports has been done before. It's not a first. but it'd be a first to have both two basketball leagues. And the Big Three said they would make any accommodations for the WNBA because she's pure gold. When you have her in your town, they said everyone that's had her, Chicago, mid-season, she packed out the arena, the women's basketball that had never been packed out before. And she packed a stadium, and it was a big honor. So keep that in mind, my friends. But here's the other thing about basketball news, and I can't wait to have Jolene Carter come on this because she and her husband are LSU fans. But Angel Reese and the LSU Tigers chose not to come out during the national anthem. This is disturbing by some because they're saying, you know, when you looked out and you saw the national anthem being played, all you had was the Iowa team, and the camera intentionally, like almost on purpose, went over and saw there's no LSU player on the court. Hang on just a sec here. We'll restart this. This is News Nation responding to that, and it sounds like there's a lot of folks upset.
On News Nation, did you watch the big women's college basketball game last night? In a rematch of last year's national championship game, the University of Iowa defeated LSU to advance to the Final Four. But now the attention has turned to what happened just before the game started. LSU is being criticized for skipping the pregame national anthem. You can see some of the video there. The Iowa team, they were arm in arm. But when the camera pans over to LSU, nowhere to be seen on the court. The head coach, Kim Mulkey, claims it was not intentionally done. But in a response, the governor of that state, Jeff Landry, is proposing a new policy that would have, quote, student athletes be present for the national anthem or risk their athletic scholarship. He goes on to say, he's a fan of women's basketball, as long tradition in his family. He says it is a matter of respect. You two are already shaking your head.
Go kick rocks, man. This whole idea that.
Now, you got these lip-locking liberals trying to defend it's no big deal. Yes, it is a big deal. I believe you cannot sit there and say that, we lost track of time. This is not her first rodeo. LSU won the national championship last year. They've got 3 of the top recruits coming right now, guards, going to LSU in the upcoming year. It's an elite program. It intentionally gave the Heisman to the national anthem. So I forgot, or oopsie whoopsie, it's not acceptable. I think the LSU coach should be suspended, or she should give a true apology. But to say, we lost track of time, we were doing game prep, blowing it off like it was no big deal. It's a big deal. But I tell you what, all they're doing is painting themselves out to be more the villain, and you're going to have teams like the Iowa team with folks like Caitlin Clark that are just they love their country. You know, she's a straight female. She has morals. She has normal lifestyle. You're just going to make superstars because the perfect storm is hit. America is sick of the transgenderism thrown in our face. They're sick of all the mantra wokeness. And once here's a young girl that stood up at the right time. She's a female Larry Bird. Just like Larry Bird raised the NBA when he went in, I believe she's going to raise the WNBA. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're trying to bribe her into this Big 3 league, because if she goes to the WNBA, she will own it. Own it. The team that is poised to draft her right now has already doubled its ticket prices. An expectation. That's what this kid brings to the table. Pastor, salute to Caitlin Clark, and I hope you guys understand it's a big, big deal. And looking forward to seeing what her days are in the future. Speaking of LSU, I don't know if you heard this, but Louisiana Senate unanimously passes a bill to block control of the UN, the WHO, and the WEF in their state. The legislature of Louisiana has said you cannot use some global laws to supersede our state laws. So America might have some kind of a thing, but they're saying you're not going to do that to us. I've got my first call in here, and we've got Steve R. Johnson, and Steve R. Johnson will be me when we get back from the break. So don't turn that dial. Epic. You're going to want to hear this, I promise.
This is the Patriot Pastor, Maisel Duncan. I want to introduce to you one of our new sponsors, University Motors of Chattanooga. Kevin Bloom is a great patriot and University Motors of Chattanooga. My wife's car was bought there, and now my car. I trust him enough that I do business with him. 423-713-5800. NugaUsedCars.com. That's NugaUsedCars.com. And tell them the Patriot Pastor sent you.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go and pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-708-3092. 800-708-3092. That's 800-708-3092.
Tell me yes.
This is the Patriot Pastor, Maisel Duncan. And if you're looking for small projects like porches, patios, walkways, or even large projects like foundation work, Patriot Concrete is there for you. Cameron Lee, 423-215-6365. We use Cameron for many projects at Appleton Baptist Church, and he and his team are awesome. That's 423-215-6365. These are all veterans that served our country. Let them serve you. Patriot Concrete is there for you.
Hey, listen, are you a 50-year-old person looking for term